we've talked a lot about the passing on of assets.
Mm-hmm.
What about debts as well? Because you could have 3 mortgages,
Mm-hmm.
4 mortgages,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe they were conventional, and you thought, oh, I'm going to move it to Islamic one day when a better product comes out.
I've heard that so many times.
Really?
All the time. Yeah, I'm going to go halal later on. I'm going to pay them all off later on. That's my plan. But it doesn't happen. Shaitan gets you in a grip. He ain't going to let go. It's a spider's web. It's just so difficult to get out of. And in that case, let's say you passed away with those assets, there needs to be paid back. The debt needs to be paid back. And the family are going to have to take that on. Where the assets are sold to then pay off that debt, or the business continues to get run, or the property portfolio continues to be run and they pay off the debt. It needs to be done. But guys, do you really want to leave that behind for your family? And in all honesty, when it comes to the Sharia compliance, and I talk to a lot of my clients about Sharia compliance, because well, yes, I'm a tax advisor, but the whole ethos of what we're trying to do as a business, even part of the Wahid group, is trying to help people stay away from riba. And so when we see people that are in riba, it's talking to them, say, guys, you sure you want to continue with this? Guys, is there any action you can take? I remember a client where she inherited a significant property portfolio from her husband many, many years ago, and the portfolio continued to grow, a lot of conventional debt against it. And now she's a lot more older. Fortunately, her health started to deteriorate, and her son was like, look, let's go on Umrah. Let's just go. So they went on Umrah, and she was really reflecting on life while she was away on Umrah. And she was like, oh my God, who am I kidding? I need to get rid of all this debt. What answer will I have in front of Allah SWT as to why I have all these conventional mortgages? And the thing is, it's so easy for us to kid ourselves. And often during our lives, we are trying to convince ourselves and the people around us, be like, oh yeah, don't worry, it's fine. And, oh, you're kind of fobbing things off. Oh yeah, these aren't you and Sharia compliant anyways. It's just all a hoax. And then they go down the conventional mortgage, being like, oh yeah, I just had to. But when you're there standing in front of Allah SWT, you realize just how weak that argument is. And you're like, I've got no leg to stand on. I was just kidding myself all this time. So when she came back, she told her son, we need to deal with this.
Wow.
The son reached out to me and said, Ruzwan, we need to do some inheritance tax planning. Can you support us? Spoke with the family, and I was trying to understand their objectives. And I saw the conventional mortgages. I was like, 1 minute, what's your thoughts about these conventional mortgages? Guys, do you want to get rid of it here? If we're doing some planning, why don't we try and just, at least at minimum, try and turn this into a Sharia compliant mortgage? At least you're in some position of safety. You don't need to be in a conventional mortgage at all. And the mom opened up 100%. I don't want any mortgage whatsoever. And I was like, 1 minute then. If that is your primary objective, and she was like, the others are distant second, third. Far distant second, third. I do not want to pass away with this debt on my head. Everything else my family can deal with. If they need to sell properties, they'll sell properties to pay the tax man. But no way do I want to stand in front of Allah SWT with this on my head. And when we talked about it and we went through the scenarios, the focus was just about, let's get you out of this debt. Forget all the other tax planning now. This is one thing we're focusing on. And my project with them has basically been, how can we get rid of all this debt in the most tax efficient way? So one by one, we were picking out the right properties to start selling, pay off mortgages as quick as possible, just one by one trying to sell them off. And then trying to get to a position where certain ones we would then refinance into a Sharia compliant mortgage.
Really? Okay.
But we had to only do that when the renewal window would come. Otherwise, it's going to be a
Fine.
Exactly.
Right,
Redemption
because then
payments.
you'd pay like some penalty.
Exactly. Lots of penalties. Exactly. So we were trying to do things on a journey here. Which ones can we deal with easily straight away? Which ones are going to be in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4?
I guess the benefit of this is, inshallah not, but if this lady does pass away during this process as well, the plan is now in place for what's going to happen.
She's on her journey. She's making tawbah, and she really sincerely wants to get out of this.
Yeah.
And for me, yes, they're making some tax savings along the way because of how we're dealing with certain things. But look what we're helping achieve for her in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means more than anything. Wallahi, that means more than anything.
Wow.
And genuinely, the thing is, sometimes we kind of just get into this kind of, no, I'm here to just deal with tax planning. And we realize that the clients put so much trust into us. And the thing is, they want someone that will give them, yes, tax advice, but also to be able to guide them, especially if they're coming to Muslims. They want to deal with Muslims so they can talk to them openly, but also guide them in the right way. They want people to be able to support them like this, give them honest advice. Look, if my father was in this, and I say this to many clients, if my father was in the same situation as you, what advice would I be giving him? It should not be any different. No way should the advice that I'm giving to a client be any different from the advice I would be giving my father if the scenario was exactly the same.
I think a lot of people are thinking, okay, this is great. I'm very scared now. But but I think that's the good thing, right? To get people to actually go into action. But is this expensive to do?
No. Not at all. Look, number one, let me say that everything is on a scale in terms of tax planning, in terms of, how much it can cost people. But tax planning should always be a small fraction of what the overall value is going to be to the client. So it's not like I'm going to charge someone X when the value that's saved is just a little bit more than X. No way, it shouldn't be like that. It should always be much, 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 much more. But
the value saved should be much, much more than the fees.
Exactly, 100%, no doubt about that. And number two is that everyone wants best bang for buck. Everyone wants that. But the only way you can determine what is best bang for buck is by having transparency on what's being presented to you in terms of the tax planning. Okay, then you know what? Present to me all the options that I have. What are the pros and cons? What are the tax savings? What are the tax costs for putting this in place? So then we can compare and contrast all the pros and cons. And then we can clearly see it on paper, the numbers, everything. It shows me these are the options that can be best for me. So many times we going through that whole exercise of just very transparent, presenting it all to the client. The numbers are there, they're very clear. Showing to clients that, look, I'm not even trying to upsell to you here. There's nothing here to upsell because this shows you that this is the best solution. That's it, simple as. And by doing that, I've done it with many clients. What I found is that sometimes the most simplest thing that actually wasn't even technically classed as tax planning was what was delivering the highest benefit for them. And I've said to them, that's all you need. Again, if my father was in your scenario, what would I be saying to him?
Because technically, I guess, like moving to a different mortgage is not tax planning.
That's not tax planning.
Getting rid of debt.
That's just holistic planning in terms of everything else they want to achieve in terms of objectives.
So
but how do you go about achieving all these objectives that you have? Whether it's getting out of mortgages, whether it's succession planning, whether it's growing your wealth in a tax efficient manner, whether it's whatever it might be for your family. Tax has a part in it because it's got something to do with wealth.
Thanks for watching Muslim Money Talk. We pull these clips from our full-length episodes to bring you the most actionable insights, serious discussions, and interesting stories from our guests. If this clip resonated with you, you need to watch the full conversation. The link is right in the description. Remember, knowledge is useless without action. That's why we built Kestrl, a tool to help you finally grow your wealth without compromising on your beliefs. We're the UK's first ever Sharia-compliant debit card with Halal monthly returns, all within a sleek, intuitive app designed by our incredible team at Kestrl. We're giving our first 1,000 users free access for life. Join the Aleph users waitlist today. The link to sign up is in the description. Thank you, Assalamu alaikum, and see you next time.